You know, a lot of people see a project like this and they focus on the finished product. They see the completed compost bins, the roof, the organization, and they think it all came together pretty quickly. What they don't see is all the little jobs like this one. Right now, I'm just removing old bolts from reclaimed lumber. It's not exciting. It's not glamorous. It's definitely not the kind of work that makes headlines. But it's one of those steps that has to happen before any real progress can be made. This 4x6 has probably lived an entire life before it ever ended up here. It held up something important somewhere. Maybe it was part of a barn, maybe a warehouse, maybe an old agricultural building. Every bolt and every scar in this timber tells a little bit of that story. Instead of sending it to a landfill, I'm giving it another chance. That's really what South Hill Compost is all about. Taking something that most people consider used up and turning it into something valuable again. Whether it's food scraps becoming compost or old lumber becoming a new composting system, the idea is the same. Waste isn't always waste. Sometimes it's just waiting for another purpose. Now, anyone who's worked with reclaimed lumber knows that these bolts don't always come out easily. Some spin. Some are rusted solid. Some have been in place for decades. Sometimes the easiest-looking bolt turns into a 10-minute wrestling match. And that's okay. Projects like this teach patience. You can't rush old wood. You can't rush rust. You certainly can't rush quality. Sometimes you have to slow down, figure out what the wood is telling you, and work with it instead of fighting it. One thing I really enjoy about building with reclaimed materials is that no two pieces are exactly alike. Every beam is different. Some are straighter than others. Some have knots. Some have checks from years of drying. Every one has character. Sure, brand new lumber is easier. Everything is square. Everything is clean. Everything matches. But reclaimed lumber has history. When this composting system is finished, every post and every beam will have a story that started long before this project ever began. I've had quite a few people ask why I don't just buy new lumber. Well, have you looked at lumber prices lately? Besides saving money, I like knowing these timbers are getting another 50 years of life instead of ending up forgotten somewhere. Building this project has reminded me that the biggest jobs aren't completed in giant leaps. They're completed one small task at a time. One hole dug, one post set, one beam lifted, one bolt removed. By themselves, those tasks don't seem like much. But stack enough of those little victories together, and eventually you've built something you're proud of. That's true for construction, but it's true for life too. Sometimes we get discouraged because we're looking at the whole mountain instead of the next step. If you only focus on everything left to do, the project feels impossible. But if you just focus on today's job, remove the bolts, set the next post, cut the next board, eventually you look back and realize how far you've come. I've been documenting this build because I think people enjoy seeing the process, not just the highlights, the real work, the dirty work, the repetitive work, because that's where the project actually happens. Social media often shows the before and after. It skips everything in the middle. But the middle is where the lessons are. It's where mistakes happen. It's where you learn new tricks. It's where you solve problems you didn't even know were coming. Those are the moments that make you a better builder. One thing this project has also reminded me is just how important good planning is. The more time you spend thinking ahead, measuring carefully, and preparing your materials, the smoother everything goes later. Removing these bolts now saves frustration later. Cleaning the lumber now makes assembly easier. Taking the time to do things right usually means you only have to do them once. Of course, that doesn't mean everything goes according to plan. I've already had changes along the way. Measurements adjusted. Ideas improved. Little surprises hidden inside old lumber. That's just part of building. You adapt. You figure it out. Then you keep moving. I hope this project encourages somebody else to start building something they've been putting off. Maybe it's composting. Maybe it's woodworking. Maybe it's fixing up an old building. Maybe it's finally tackling that project that's been sitting in the back of your mind for years. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Start with whatever you've got. You'll learn as you go. That's certainly what I'm doing. Every day I work on these compost bins, I learn something new. Sometimes it's about construction. Sometimes it's about problem solving. Sometimes it's just about being patient. And honestly, that's part of the fun. When these bins are finally finished, they'll help turn food scraps into rich compost that goes back into the soil. That's a pretty satisfying cycle. Food grows. People eat. Scraps get composted. Compost grows more food. Nature has been doing it for millions of years. We're just helping it along. If you've made it this far in the video, thanks for hanging out while I tackle one of the less glamorous parts of the build. Not every video can be cranes and big beams. Sometimes it's just me, a wrench, some stubborn old bolts, and a lot of determination. But every bolt that comes out is one step closer to seeing this entire composting system standing exactly the way I've imagined it. So stick around. There's still a lot more to build. The best part of this project is still ahead. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next update.